Good morning, David Paul here. I guess this is for my family as much as anyone else who watches my channel. But I'm standing here on not the absolute top of my land, but about halfway up the land which is at the back of the house. And it's now becoming clear what I own and what I don't own. And it turns out that I've got, in my terms, I've got quite a lot of land. Considering my past in England, you only had small gardens and so on, but this is rural land for the farming of, So what I got, if you're at the back, I'm at the back of the house here, so I've got the house there as a reference point, and over there to the left is, you can just see the edge of a wall there. I own a terrace which runs out that way, and I don't think it is this terrace. But either way, if it's not this terrace, it's the terrace up there. So let's exclude that, and you just take a line from there, and it runs out very slightly and takes in a few trees, pine trees, and they're going to have to come down because they're a fire hazard to my house, and also they have a tendency to fall over. They get taller and taller and taller and then eventually fall over. Whereas oak trees don't really do that. They're short and stubby and wide root system, and they will just like tip over on their side or something. Most of the oak trees are only about 30 feet high. So around here, yeah, they can get very high, but like mostly around here they're about 30 feet. And you got to worry about that in 100 years' time. It's not an immediate pressing problem, but the pine trees, they grow fast, and they also burn really well. And that radiant heat off them is going to damage you. Now the oak trees, they develop cork on the bark, so they don't burn. And I would leave the cork on. I wouldn't harvest it. It's not worth it. I'm not going to make my fortune farming cork here. I would leave it on to protect the trees, so therefore I can have the tree, and I can also have the fact that the tree is not going to catch a light. The bark just chars and then forms an insulating layer. So then what you're left with is a grass fire. Now a grass fire is not a big problem. Over the valley there, I've got the eucalyptus forest over there, not mine, a eucalyptus forest. If that catches a light, that's going to be a big problem to me. I'm going to have to evacuate the area, evacuate me from the area. But it's not. I don't imagine that is going to burn my house down. And if it starts flicking sparks over here, then all it's going to do is create that grass fire, because I'm going to keep the area around my house very strictly non-flammable. Basically, that involves oak trees. So I've got a large tree here which is a threat to my house. In fact, it feels like it's leaning towards my house. I don't think it really is. This is a pine tree. These have a tendency to just tip over, and if this damn thing tips over, it could kill us if we're in the house and it lands on the roof and we're asleep. So that's got to go. So this part here I never understood how this worked, and now I do. Halfway at the back of the house, half of that land there, this little indent here, I don't own that. So I'm negotiating to buy the land on the left hand side of the house, or right hand from the back side of the house here, which I think I did a video on. I'm negotiating to buy that. Damned expensive for the amount of land that it is, but it'll tie together all the bits of land that I've got and make more sense of the place, and I can also move around it. Now at the back here, we're allowed by Portuguese law to build extensions to our houses, of 40 square meters, which basically that amounts to about two bedrooms, about 14 feet by 14 feet, square bedrooms. So what I'm going to do, there was also a toilet at the back of here. I'm going to do that extension, but it's not, I must admit, it's not very conducive to it because the lie of the land's not very good at all. So I think the perfect place would be to put it down there, extend that wee house there out to there, and have 2 more bedrooms. So I'll have a 4-bedroom house and a giant living room, and that's the end of that. Not much more I can do or I would want to do on that house. I could create a sort of what do you call a pavilion house. So in other words, you just extend the house out in a long line. But unfortunately, the terrain here is really not suited to it at all. And that's not my big idea anyway. If you're following my channel, I'm doing stuff in England, growing a house from plants. And here, a lot of the vegetation's already here, established to do that. So this area here, in this area here, I'm hoping to build a dome house. Maybe 30 feet wide dome. I haven't yet decided, maybe bigger. I'm all for something really big and grand. However, it will be completely invisible. You'll walk into this forested area and you won't even know it's here because I'm going to construct it out of trees. I mean, on this side, for example, I've got all this scrub here. I own this as well. I've got all this scrub here to work with. And so that's screening it. And there's also the fact that the thing itself is made out of trees. So half of it's screened with a different species of trees, and then there's a lot of the other species of tree. And so therefore, you're going to look up here and you're just going to see a lot of vegetation and trees, and you'll see nothing. And it will be a tree house, literally made of trees, and you'll be up at an elevated point overlooking the view. So this looks like a damn fine spot to view out on. Now, it'll make a nice view, but it'll not just be this, it'll be higher. In fact, I can raise my camera a bit and see if I can get more in. And that's as good as it can get. Now, this olive tree here, which is mine, I can cut that down and regrow it from the base as a single leader. My olive trees here, I'm going to cultivate them for the purposes of producing my own olive oil. And I'm going to have enough to satisfy my family. And beyond that, I'm not interested because, you know, I don't want to get into olive production. There's got to be, I can't have it all, you know, I can't have oak trees all over the place and olive trees and fruit trees and this and that. So that's the end of that. And down there on that piece of land there, thinking about it now, I think I'll plant fruit trees down there. It's beside the house, so, you know, you can care for them nearer the house. Here I've got a pear tree which has got lots of pears on it, ready to go. By the time I leave this place, I may have a crop. I think I'll just give them to Keith because they're not going to be soft enough for me. Every year that tree grows pears and they just fall off and rot because I'm not here. So turning round to the reverse, on top of all of this, I also have all of this up here. So this is a terrace which I own, and the terrace runs out this way into a sort of notch there. And then behind that terrace is more land yet again, which is just completely scrubbed now. So I have to do some clearing there to try and find out what's mine and what's not. And you can tell it's mine because other people don't clear it, because why should they? You know, why should they be doing my work for me? So over the years it's turned into woodland. So I'm slowly clearing out all of the rubbish here. There's a fallen tree. I'm clearing the fallen tree away because that's more fire hazard. I've got a lot of firewood potentially, and that kind of worries me because I'm not organised yet for it. And it has to go because you don't really want firewood lying in the forest. You want a clean forest with very little dead stuff lying on the bottom, in Portugal anyway. Certainly near your house. Up the top there, there's a giant, a really large oak tree. That would make a good place for a tree house. You see, the tree house, you can build the tree house pretty much straight away because you've got the elevation of the land. So if you're in a cabin up there, it'll feel like a tree house because you're so high. And in fact, I'm very, very tempted to make that the site of the treehouse because it's just, it's so elevated. We're talking sort of, wow, man, 1, 2. This could be as high as, I don't know, 80 to 100 feet high. And that's a very high elevation already before you even start growing a tree height, before you start elevating the treehouse in the trees. So that's something I need to get in there and check that out. But I need a surveyor to tell me exactly what's mine here. So much for that. Maybe build a small, just a tiny dome here. Trouble is, I like the big jobs, you know. I like the life on a grand scale. Yeah. Anyway, that's all for now. Jesus be with you.